Now, buddy, in today's video, we are talking money. I mean, the most expensive passenger plane is, of course, the most biggest as well. Everybody, the A380. I mean, it costs close to $500 million, which is a lot of money, especially for such a poor of a plane. But everybody, the overall most expensive plane is, of course, the infamous B-2 Spirit. Now, this one costs a bit more, almost $1 billion. To be quite exact, I think it was like 737 million, which is a funny number, I know. And what is cool to see is that this quite goofy, most expensive plane in the world has now been released for the flight simulator. And what's funny about that is the contrast between this plane being the most expensive plane in real life and being the cheapest plane in the flight simulator. But this is for free. You can download this. Yeah, it's been released now for a few months now. It's been had like 3,000 downloads. It was made by this GTA 5 character, apparently. And now we can take a closer look at the Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit, a plane that can fly at Mach 1, the plane that is one of the most significant planes in modern warfare history, even though only 20 of these have been built. Come on, let's maybe take a bit of a look. It does look quite a bit ugly. Let's take a bit of a look into the cockpit, which is also quite a bit ugly. I mean, in real life, the avionics are some of the things that make this plane the most expensive plane. This thing has so much tech on board. I mean, maybe just try to take off here. At least the levers work. Now, what you can obviously tell is that this plane is incredibly ugly, which is great. Yeah, I mean, it kind of gives away its purpose already. It's a stealth plane, obviously. Why are these spoilers out? That makes no sense. And the thing about stealth planes always is that the engines are lacking power. I mean, of course, stealth planes are all about avoiding radar detection, and very hot engines will not go well with the infrared stuff, which is why we probably will need a longer runway than St. Bartholomew. I'm sucking at making this video. All right, come on, let's do this. Now, this is definitely one of the most special planes as well. You can see it's a flying wing airplane, which is quite futuristic for sure. I mean, this plane came out in the 90s. I mean, it never really came out. It's a stealth plane. Not really what it's supposed to do, but, flying wing aircraft are something that I would see is the future. You've got no tail. You've got no vertical stabilizer. You've got this flush surface, which is perfect for not being detected on the radar. And the engines are so incredibly lacking power still. This thing needs like a 10,000 foot long runway. I'm literally disappointed in the B-2. I've crashed the B-2 Spirit. Great. Yeah. The most expensive plane is also probably the worst performing plane I've seen in a while. That's great. But again, radar detection. I mean, look at the outside shell made out of SAM materials. That's definitely something that makes this plane most expensive. The special material absorbs and scatters radar signals. I'm lagging. Jesus Christ. Now, this plane actually, by the way, in the flight simulator is quite hard to fly. You've got no instruments, so it makes no sense. Something you can tell, though, is that when you are in the air, this plane goes quite fast. Once again, the aerodynamics of this flying wing plane, it does look like a UFO, though, are amazing. Look at this. All right, come on. Something I want to try, though, is landing this plane. I mean, it apparently does not have any flaps or something, so you got to do a really high-speed landing. This plane needs probably the longest runway ever, not only for takeoff, but also for landing. So look at this. Does this suggest like a landing speed of 180? Jesus, all right. I mean, there's nothing to be worried about when we go to Edwards Air Force Base here in the desert, indeed. All right, come on, let's try landing now. Really high-speed landing. We have to go to outside view for that as well, which sucks. Honestly, this might be one of the worst add-ons we've seen so far for the flight simulator. Great. Anyway, come on, let's try a landing here. The landing gear actually is quite impressive. What I also find impressive are those, control surfaces. We do have rudder control. Look at that. It's just thousands of flaps moving about. That's incredible. All right, come on. Let's maybe try coming for landing here. Nothing to be worried about. Right. Honestly, it's something to be worried about because we are fast. Okay, come on. Let's put this plane to the ground. I hate landing in an outside view. I just can't do it. I've just completely ate shit. Anyway, maybe try to just stop, which isn't very easy either because this plane does not have reverse thrust. Probably wouldn't be great for radar performance, but we are stopping quite quickly enough. But something that's great to know that this has not been the worst landing ever, as you can see by this ultimately 4K picture. And Jesus Christ, in real life, this plane looks even worse. But something we do have here is some sort of tilted landing gear, kind of like the A350, really. But geez, it looks like a flying egg. It does look like a bird, but not in a good way. What is that? I mean, quite a bit of a clever design. They definitely designed it so that you wouldn't even want to look at it. stealth everybody. So things are looking great. Probably the performance in real life of this plane isn't that half bad. Even though the stop was quite alright. Something that this plane lacks most of is weaponry here in the flight simulator. In real life, it does have that. It actually does have the ability to carry both conventional and nuclear bombs. This is a nuclear bomber. And this is why this plane is so incredibly powerful. It's both stealthy and dangerous. This allows this plane to penetrate heavily defended airspace and deliver its payload with precision. And I just read that from Wikipedia. It doesn't really matter. Look at this. It does look incredibly ugly. Even though, to be fair, this plane is really not small at all. Look at that huge wing, which definitely needs for lift. These engines are not powerful. Come on, Sabre. I mean, this was a 300-meter long runway, but I mean, come on. Okay, this plane's actually broken now as well. Okay, it won't work! Oh, Jesus Christ. Why is this so... Why? It's frozen. I think I've broken the flight simulator. No, come back. Why? It doesn't work. It's literally broken the simulator. It's probably the worst plane ever released, honestly. You know, having such a poor add-on for the simulator is a bit, dishonoring. I mean, after all, the B-2 Spirit has been used in several military conflicts, including like bombing campaigns in the Iraq land and Yugoslavia and more Iraq. I'm not a fan of war, to be honest. What I am a fan of is the tech behind it. And I mean, look at that cockpit. That is in the 90s. Perfect. I am pretty sure this plane is incredibly hard to fly, and she's wearing no pants. But it's sad that we can't really get to experience things like refueling it in midair. Jeez. All right, come on. Let me try a proper landing now. Una Courchevel. Probably won't work. Somebody, if you got almost $1 billion to spare, and you definitely will need that $1 billion or more because the maintenance of this plane is incredibly expensive. All of these engines are crazy. You can just buy the B-2 and land at long runways and take off of them, maybe. And if you got no money, you can just download this here. Great. Is the high price of this plane justified? Probably yes. The tech in this is incredible, but probably not incredible enough to land here. Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. Okay. There we go. That's a few monies. And you can see the bomb bay. So yeah, guys, on today's list of the most expensive things. By the way, can we hit the speed of sound real quick? Honestly, this should probably be about it. Almost 500 knots of airspeed. Now we are pretty fast. So pretty goal reached. Thank you so much for watching this very weird video. And I'll see you guys tomorrow as always. Good night.
Well, thank you so much to all the people who give me lots of monies, like Mariana, Ragings, Junk in the Trunk, Mike, John O'Brien, Derek, Matt, Sleepy Boy, Kelly Chaos, Ryland Williams, New York, Shadow, Ignuana, and Moritz Bohausen.